Hello folks, welcome back. This is Chris in Cape Town, the mother city here in the Western Cape of South Africa. Beautiful Table Mountain just behind me, right up there. You can see it. There's the peak where the cable car goes up right there. So, big news in South Africa today, and that big news was that the value-added tax increase of 0.5% has gone by the wayside. And a lot of folks want to take credit for it. So who's really responsible? I think that's the question, the $64,000 question that everybody's answering. Herman Mashaba and Action SA have said, hey, we're the reason why the VAT increase didn't occur. But are they really? Maybe they are. The Democratic Alliance was taking the government, its own government, to court over the VAT increase, and they're claiming credit for the VAT increase disappearing. Now, the ANC didn't get the VAT increase they wanted. Initially, they wanted 2% increase. They backed down to a 0.5% increase, and now they're getting no increase. And the question is, what's going on here? What's really happening with this? Well, the bottom line, folks, is that, as I've said before, a value-added tax is an insidious tax that harms consumers the most. And consumers who rely on purchasing things, and of course that is the poor. And the wealthy, it doesn't have much of an impact. You know, if you're going to buy a boat or buy yourself a big Land Cruiser, you know, that 0.5% is not that much if you're wealthy. But a poor person or someone living off of social grants, that's going to have a big impact. So the argument was made by the African National Congress and by Enoch Godwana that the money was needed to pay for the social grants and the system. But there's a lot of fluff and a lot of waste in the spending of the South African government. So I don't know what the actual deficit is, but the number talked about was 73 million rand, or 73 billion, must be 73 billion rand, that's what it was, 73 billion rand shortfall. So how do you overcome that? Well, you tighten your belt and you get rid of some unnecessary payments. Maybe you get rid of some of these deputy ministers. Why do you have 2 deputy ministers in one ministry? It's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But I mean, that's a small savings. The big savings is going to be on the social media and what money is saved there. So the government is going to have to make some sort of adjustments. We've seen countervailing reports that actually that the government does have the money, that SARS received enough money. So I really know what the situation here is. But the bottom line is that the value-added tax was an own goal, not a smart move by the government of South Africa. And it looked like Action SA got hoodwinked for a while there. But in the end, there's no VAT increase. So who wins? South Africa wins, and South Africans win. Your government is not going to tax you further. The power of governments is their ability to tax, you know, how much money they can take out of an economy. And that's one way that they decide on who wins and who loses. They pick winners and losers based on the money they have available to them through taxation. So the bottom line here is that who wins today? Everyday South Africans. But frankly, I gotta be honest with you folks, the value-added tax is a horrible concept. It doesn't add value to a product or service, it just gives money to the government. And then they value it based on the cost plus the profit that a business makes, and then the value-added tax on top of that. It's a real brake on economic growth. Frankly, any tax on a good and service shouldn't be over 5 or 6% if you want an economy to grow. We don't have a value-added tax in America. We do have sales tax in many places. And a lot of people come to America from Africa, from Europe, who are accustomed to value-added tax, are a little put off by that. They go to the store and the price says $10, and they're like, wait a second, why is it $10.60? Because the sales tax is not included in the value of the item. It's a tax that's applied, and you can see that. It registers in your head that the state is taking 6%. What are they using it for? Well, when the value-added tax is part of the price, people overlook that, and the government continues to fleece money from taxpayers, oftentimes without the realization that they're being fleeced. I say fleeced because what does the government do with that money? If it's put to good use for defense, for justice, for courts that function, for social services, repair of infrastructure, maintenance of infrastructure, then it's okay. But hey, that's not how governments roll. They oftentimes take our money and use it for their own ends, mostly to secure votes for themselves. It doesn't matter whether the government's in Pennsylvania, Virginia, the United States, the UK, Germany, Rhineland-Pfalz, Bavaria, or here in South Africa. Governments take money from the economy. If they provide a decent service, well then, that's okay. But oftentimes they don't provide that. But the good news today, Thursday, the 24th of April, 2025, is the 0.5% VAT increase is gone. And lots of people are taking credit. The ANC says, well, no, it's because of Parliament. That's why. It's not the court case, it's Parliament. Okay, maybe. Action SA is crowing and saying, hey, that was a precondition. We insisted there be no VAT increase. But we all know that the VAT increase was baked in because of the bizarre law that South Africa has that allows the finance minister to simply state a tax increase in his budget speech, and then it's a fait accompli. Can you believe that? Business Tech, I think, reported that a few weeks back, and I was one of the few people that actually covered that story after I researched and found out, in fact, that was the case. They can do that. What a bizarre situation. So Enoch Gondwana has relented, and the VAT increase is going away. Otherwise, there would have been a piece of legislation passed by Parliament to remove that VAT increase simply because he said it. Crazy world, isn't it, folks? But good news today as we approach the weekend. Hey, it's Thursday. So what are we going to find out on Friday? Friends and family only Friday. What will Donald Trump do this week? Will he mention South Africa? Stay tuned. Watch the space and we'll see what the Trumpster has to say. From the mother city of Cape Town, this is Chris wishing you all a wonderful day and a good weekend. Cheers.